Tom Homan shuts down a fake news reporter during an ambush of his. Guys, this is going to be a good clip. I think you're going to like it. Also, as you may have noticed, I am wearing a Resist the Mainstream shirt. Isn't this merch beautiful, guys? Really high quality, well-fitting. It is great. You should get it. But anyways, we're going to get right into the clip, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But first, do me a big favor here. Like our video and share it around so we can keep bringing you guys this great, hard-hitting content. As always, my friends, I'm your host, Darian, and this is Resist the Mainstream.
You treating migrants humanely,
Yes.
but there's been reports of them on planes with no water.
That was a bunch of
complaining.
That was a bunch of crap.
What do you mean a bunch of crap?
ICE detention facilities have the highest detention standards in the industry. Any of the ICE standards, our detention standards are higher than any state or federal or local facility in the nation, in the world. Someone should go to the ICE website, look at PBNDS 11, performance-based detention standards, and look at our detention standards, highest in the industry.
But are you sure you're only getting illegal criminal migrants? I mean, there were some pictures over the weekend of people that claim to be students, Brazilian students, who were showing examples of bruises on their arms from American deportation flights.
That's ridiculous, but if they want to make a complaint, we investigate it.
What is with this distinction of some illegal immigrants being criminals and some that aren't? That's phony, all right? It's a fake, and we should reject it outright. If they came into this country illegally, guess what? They are a criminal by definition. It is as simple as that.
But your assurance is what?
The men and women at ICE are professionals. We do this for a living. And I can tell you, I ran ICE for years. I was the first director of ICE came up through the ranks. Again, these men and women are professional, highest detention standards in the industry. We take care of these people. But we're going to enforce the law, and we're not going to apologize for doing it. And
you're going to do it in a sort of public way with, do you need to use the big military planes? Is that part of a sort of shock and awe tactic? No. They haven't been used before, have they, for migrants?
No, we got President Trump. We're going to use all the government to secure our border, which is the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen. And we're going to enforce laws to this country. It's not okay to enter this country illegally. It's a crime. And when you cause a crisis as big as the Biden administration caused, when you overwhelm the Border Patrol, but they can't do their national security job, that's when the fentanyl come across, kill 250,000 Americans. That's when you have a 600% increase in sex trafficking. That's when you have a record number of no-inspected terrorists coming across an open border. President Trump's going to secure the border as promised to the American people. We're going to enforce immigration laws. That's what we're going to do, without apology. We're on board. We're going to go forward. You're going to see it get a hell of a lot bigger in the near future.
You know, part of me wishes Tom Homan would just start making fun of her instead of giving her a serious answer, because she clearly doesn't want that. You know, just mock that silly British accent of hers as she's sitting here trying to lecture an American on what he's doing in his own country. Oh, but the big scary planes. Why do you got to use the big scary planes? Is that really right? Oh, I'm gonna have to clutch my tea. I don't know about that. I mean, yeah, I don't do the best British accent, guys. So if it's terrible, I'm sorry. But seriously, you know, you should just say, well, how about we send you on a deportation flight back to England, matey? Get your crumpets and tea and get on out of here. I mean, seriously, she's sitting here complaining about deportations. Let's deport her too. Okay, assuming she is not an American citizen, of course. All right, because you know, if people come here legally, that means they're automatically super American, and there's nothing to question about it, right? Right. Anyways, the left tries to parse these things over here. Oh, well, you know, it's only the violent criminals that we want to get rid of, blah, blah, but they're not even serious about deporting the violent criminals either, and they often accidentally let the mask slip and show that. Check out what Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson has to say about it, for instance. It's pretty eye-opening.
Tom Homan showed up in Chicago and within 24 hours found a convicted sex offender who has been living in our city since 2009, flouting the sex offender registry. If he can do this, why can't you?
Because that's their job. That is their job. The federal
Their
government
job's not to keep
has
the people of Chicago safe.
To make sure that individuals who are undocumented, who have been charged with, convicted of a crime, it is the federal government's responsibility to do their part and uphold the law. Our local police department, along with our public health department, along with our other sister agencies, are working to build a better, stronger, safer Chicago. And as we've stated repeatedly, those critical investments, you continue to see the results of those investments as violent crime continues to fall in Chicago. Thank you very much.
So apparently it's not his job to deport, or at least make sure you imprison and take care of convicted sex offenders who are also illegal immigrants so they don't continue to wreak havoc and ruin people's lives. That's not your job, but it is your job to have a freaking sanctuary city that violates federal law by harboring illegal immigrants and refusing to allow your local police to cooperate with federal law enforcement. Did I get that right? These people are so despicable. You know, it's kind of funny in a way because of just how absurd it all is, but when you get down to it in its core, it's actually quite disgusting. These people quite literally have an anti-human, anti-American agenda. They are anti-decency. They don't believe in enforcing the rule of law, even if it means protecting innocent people. It's just sick, you know. And the only time they do believe in enforcing law is, of course, to go after Donald Trump. And we all know it's not really enforcing law anyways, so they're just kind of making stuff up and using loopholes and all this fancy schmancy stuff. You know, by the way, guys, if you still have faith in the American justice system, if you're one of those people who says, "Oh, well, we have the greatest justice system in the world." I mean, I don't know, maybe we do, but is it really that great? When you have people like that guy over here, that guy making decisions about this kind of stuff, it's insane. You know, honestly, I kind of miss the former mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot. Sure, she looked like a garden gnome. I get it, guys. But you know what? At least she was honest about her totally crazy far leftist views. Like, remember when she went and openly said that she would not take questions from or interviews with white reporters? I remember at the time people on the right were so outraged. Oh my God. Oh, pounding the table and stuff. Can you believe this? The Chicago mayor, Lori Lightfoot, she said she wanted to interview white people. I'm like, I mean, at least she's honest, you have some of these leftists, Barron Manor Johnson's, one of them who kind of play this game like, oh, I'm not racist. I'm just against racism. And they kind of pretend they're against it, but they secretly hate white people and conservatives and all the like. They have an anti-white agenda. Hey, Lightfoot, for all her faults, she was pretty straightforward about her agenda. Can't say that for most Democrats. Now, let's hear a few more words from our border czar, Tom Homan.
Talk about the arrests so far. Numbers released the first day were over 500, and there were reports that one was a suspected terrorist, others were gang members. Were all of the people who were arrested on day one, as far as you know, convicted criminals or those who had been arrested before?
No. And let me explain that. There are collateral arrests. Where do collateral arrests happen? Sanctuary cities. And this is important we understand that. Sanctuary cities lock us out of the jails. So instead of ICE being able to arrest the bad guy, the criminal alien, in the safety and security of a jail where the officer's safe, the alien's safe, and the public's safe, sanctuary cities release them back in the community, which endangers the community, putting the criminal alien back in the community. But when we find him, he's going to be with others, most likely. Many times they're with others. If they're in the country illegally, they're coming too.
But were these arrests all in sanctuary cities? It doesn't appear so on the first day.
The collaterals, many more. I don't have the exact breakdown. But again,
so the arrests in Massachusetts, in Chelsea, Massachusetts, which the governor said it's great to arrest the criminals who are convicted, but were there people taken there as well who were not convicted? Were they, as you say, collateral?
I'm sure they are.
You talk about these numbers expanding.
Are we supposed to sit here and shred crocodile tears for illegal immigrants who got deported just because they didn't happen to commit other crimes beyond the initial crime of coming into the United States illegally and undetected? Well, at least in theory undetected, right? Obviously they get detected by a lot of the Biden Border Patrol and then just get let out in the country anyways, because that's apparently how we roll now. Not anymore soon though, thanks to Trump, God willing. Yeah, no, I don't think so. And I think there's something very important here because we talk about Laken Riley, right? That horrible thing that happened to her, that disgusting sexual attack followed by her killing, right? That was all horrible. Well, guess what? That person who did it and perpetuated that scumbag, illegal immigrant, Venezuelan guy, he was deported from the United States more than once before it happened, okay? And you know what? I think after the fact, after he commits this heinous crime, it's a little too late to deport him. Maybe if he was deported before and actually kept out of this country before he could have committed that violent crime never would have been committed. There's some food for thought. People say, oh, we should only deport the illegal immigrants who are out there committing other violent crimes. No. Why the hell should we wait for them to go and commit some disgusting violent crime before we get rid of them? Let's just get rid of them to start with, or better yet, not even let them in the first place. And guess what? We have more happy people, more lives saved.
You talk about these numbers expanding. 500 the first day. What do you think you can get up to?
As many as we can get.
What can happen at this point, given your manpower?
Look, I think we're in the beginning stages. We're bringing more resources into this operation. As a whole of government, we're going to have DOJ assisting us. And like the DOD piece, helping build infrastructure, helping with the transportation. That takes ICE, badges and guns, out of those duties and puts them on the street.
I want to go back to who you're deporting. Aside from the long list of executive actions, the administration said it will no longer tell ICE agents they have to avoid sensitive locations, including schools, hospitals, churches. Benjamin Huffman, the acting Homeland Security Secretary, said in a statement, criminals will no longer be able to hide in America's schools and churches to avoid arrest. What criminals are hiding in schools?
Look,
middle schools, elementary schools. You going to go into those?
How many MS-13 members are the age of 14 to 17? Many of them. So, look, if it's a national security threat, public safety threat, and what you need to understand is a case by case. Name another agency, another law enforcement agency that has those type of requirements that they can't walk into a school or a doctor's office or on a medical campus. No other agencies held to those standards. These are well-trained officers with a lot of discretion, and when it comes to the sensitive location, there's still going to be supervisory review. So it's not like it's an open issue, but ICE officers should have discretion to decide if a national security threat or a public safety threat's in one of these facilities, then there should be an option for them to make the arrest.
But someday you could go into those schools and grab people who are just in the country illegally.
On a case-by-case basis, depending who they are, what the circumstances are. It's never a zero game.
Notice how disingenuous and insincere she is. You know, they're just here illegally. That's all they're doing, and you're gonna go get them? Yeah, you should, and that should be the minimum standard, actually. Also, earlier, you said, oh, but you're gonna go after middle school kids? Elementary school kids? Purposely leaves high school out. This is the power and manipulation of the media. That is terrible. With all that being said, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. What do y'all think? Please be sure to comment below, and if you enjoyed the video, subscribe, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon, and God bless.